Okay, guys, welcome back. We are ready for chapter 3 of our Wayside Stories from Wayside School. I hope you've enjoyed listening to chapter 1 and 2. I know some of you who zoom into my class have heard more than 3 chapters, but it's always nice for a refresher. So you'll be able to listen to the story and then you'll click on and answer a few questions so I know you were listening, okay? So let's review what has happened so far. So we know there are 30 stories of Wayside School. That must be a really tall building, okay? We know that their first teacher's name was Mrs. Gorf, but she was mean. Remember, here's her picture. She turned all her students into apples, okay? Chapter 2 was about Mrs. Jules. She was a really nice lady, but she thought her students were monkeys. Oh, how silly. Okay, so we've read about Miss Gorf and Miss Jules, so now we are ready for chapter 3, which is all about our friend Joe. We see in this picture that Joe has really big hair, and we notice some numbers around him. So maybe that's going to mean something. So let's read the chapter together to find out, okay? Let's have eyes on me, listening ears on, okay? Chapter 3. Joe had curly hair, but he didn't know how much hair he had. He couldn't count that high. In fact, he couldn't count at all. When all of the other children went to recess, Miss Jules told Joe to wait inside. "Joe," she said, "how much hair do you have?" Joe shrugged his shoulders. "A lot," he answered. "But how much, Joe?" asked Miss Jules. "Enough to cover my head," Joe answered. "Joe, you are going to have to learn how to count," said Miss Jules. "But Miss Jules, I already know how to count," said Joe. "Let me go to recess." "First, count to 10, said Miss Jules. Joe counted to 10. 6, 11, 12, 1, 5, 2, 7, 11, 3, 10. "No, Joe, that is wrong," said Miss Jules. "No, it isn't," said Joe. "I counted until I got to 10. "But you were wrong," said Miss Jules. "I'll prove it to you." She put 5 pencils on his desk. 4, 6, 1, 9, 5. "There are 5 pencils, Miss Jules." "That's wrong," said Miss Jules. "Well, how many pencils are there?" Joe asked. 5, said Miss Jules. "Well, that's what I said Joe. "May I go to recess now?" "No," said Miss Jules. "You got the right answer, but you counted the wrong way. You were just lucky." She set 8 potatoes on his desk. "How many potatoes, Joe?" Joe counted the potatoes. 7, 5, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8 potatoes. "May I go to recess now?" "No, there are 8, said Miss Jules. "But that's what I said." "No, you got the right answer, but you counted the wrong way again." She put 3 books on his desk. "Count the books, Joe." Joe counted the books. 1,000, 1,000,000, 3. 3, Miss Jules. "Correct," said Miss Jules. "May I go to recess now?" said Joe. "No," said Miss Jules. "May I have a potato?" asked Joe. "No, listen to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, said Miss Jules. "Now you say it." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, said Joe. "Very good," said Miss Jules. She put 6 erasers on his desk. "Now count the erasers, Joe, just the way I showed you." Joe counted the erasers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. "There are 10, Miss Jules." "No," said Miss Jules. "Didn't I count right?" asked Joe. "Yes, you counted right, but you got the wrong answer," said Miss Jules. "This doesn't make any sense," said Joe. "When I count the wrong way, I get the right answer, and when I count the right way, I get the wrong answer." Miss Jules hit her head against the wall 5 times. "How many times did I hit my head against the wall?" she asked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You hit your head against the wall 10 times, said Joe. No, said Miss Jules. 4, 6, 1, 9, 5. You hit your head against the wall 5 times, said Joe. Miss Jules shook her head no and said, yes, that's right. The bell rang and all the other children came back from recess. The fresh air had made them very excited, and they were laughing and shouting. Oh, darn, said Joe. Now I've missed recess. Hey, Joe, where were you? Asked John. You missed a great game of kickball. I kicked a home run, said Todd. What was wrong with Joe? Asked Joy. Nothing, said Joe. Miss Jules was just trying to teach me how to count. Joy laughed. You mean you don't know how to count? Counting is easy, said Marisa. Now, said Miss Jules. What's easy for you may not be easy for Joe, and what's easy for Joe may not be easy for you. Nothing's easy for Joe, said Marisa. He's silly. I can beat you up, said Joe. Try it, said Marisa. That will be enough of that, said Miss Jules. She wrote Marisa's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Joe put his head on his desk between the 8 potatoes and 6 erasers. Don't feel bad, Joe, said Miss Jules. I just don't get it, said Joe. I'll never learn how to count. Sure you will, Joe, said Miss Jules. One day it will just come to you. You'll wake up one morning and suddenly be able to count. Joe asked, if all I have to do is wake up, what am I going to school for? School just speeds things up, said Miss Jules. Without school, it might take you another 70 years for you to be able to count. By that time, I may have no hair left on the top of my head to count, said Joe. Exactly, said Miss Jules. That is why you go to school. When Joe woke up the next day, he knew how to count. He had 55,006 hairs on his head, and they were all curly. The end of chapter 3. That was a silly one. I liked Joe. So, what was Joe having trouble doing? He had trouble counting. But he finally learned how, and he had 55,006 hairs on his head. That is a lot. I wonder how many I have on my head. Okay, so our next time together, we'll read chapter 4, which is about Sherry. I wonder what she's doing. She looks like she's sleeping. So if you want to click on the next arrow, and you'll answer the questions about the chapter we just read together. Okay, thanks for tuning in.